My next stop is in Atlanta, where we are counting it down to college football, and the SEC media days continue. And since 2006, no conference has had anywhere near the success the SEC has had. 12 of the last 16 national championships, including 4 of the last 5. For just the second time in the last 7 years, Nick Saban's offseason didn't include replacing a coordinator. Alabama finishing top 5 in both offense and defense last year. But of course, it was Georgia's season, coming off its first national championship since 1980. And despite losing 5 first-round picks, ESPN's FPI still gives Georgia a 45% chance to get back to the title game. And we head back down to Atlanta, where Heather and Paul are with us as always. And Heather, I know you had a chance to chat with Kirby Smart. Last year was his year. What is this year for the coach of Georgia?
Well, he said 2 things yesterday that stood out to me. One was, we will not be hunted at the University of Georgia. I can promise you that. He said everywhere he's gone, people are asking him about complacency. He said that's not an issue, because in order to do that, you have to have done something. And this particular team hasn't done anything yet, because they lost about 15 players to the NFL draft. The second thing he said was that his quarterback, Stetson Bennett, is not getting enough respect. Stetson came into our room like the 40-year-old in a college student's body that he is, drinking his coffee yesterday, and said, I've got respect of everybody who matters. The national title can speak for itself.
Fair enough. Paul, last year was Kirby Smart's year. It was Georgia's year. But everyone I have asked, Alabama or the field in the SEC for this season, has taken Alabama. Is that right?
That is 100% correct, and Kirby Smart knows that better than anyone. And I think he once again managed to pull a page from Nick Saban's playbook. He's the defending national champion. He'll be a top 2 or 3 pick, and he's got a chip on his shoulder, the size of Georgia. And it was just really wonderful to see him, because when he walked in here 5 years ago, he was nervous. He was a rookie. He's a seasoned veteran with a national championship trophy. When you're the first coach at Georgia to win one in 41 years, 42 years, it's going to carry you a long way. But fans here, Georgia fans, think they're back in that championship game against Alabama. The SEC first, and then the national championship. We may have a rerun of last year, Greeny.
So we will wait and see on all of that. In the meantime, I was watching with interest Jim Phillips, who's the commissioner of the ACC, was talking yesterday, and I could see Paul already chuckling a little bit. I mean, these are tough times in that circumstance. Heather, you obviously are as connected to all of the conference machinations as anybody. What are the most important things that come out of the ACC right now, as it feels like, I hate to even say it, but from an existential perspective, it almost feels like everything hangs in the balance for them?
Well, they're trying to play catch up and close the gap financially. This is what it's all about. These schools know that they are locked in that league because of the grant of rights agreements through 2036. So how can they keep everyone happy? Jim Phillips acknowledged yesterday that they are talking about uneven revenue distribution. That means there's schools in that conference who say, hey, you should be paying us more money for who we are and what we do. And that's something that they are considering. He said all options are on the table. It almost sounded exactly the same as Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark last week, to be honest with you, Greeny. So all options are on the table there. And one Big 12 source told me, you know what, they might want to consider that uneven revenue distribution, because maybe if we would have done that for OU and Texas, they would have thought twice about going to the SEC.
Isn't that interesting? So I'm just projecting. This is not like the Clemsons of the world would get more money in a deal than some of the others, because they are at this point at least the bigger and more high-profile program. Paul, what do you make of all this?
I thought Jim Phillips missed the moment yesterday. And Greeny, you introduced me to Jim Phillips, and I respect him greatly. He's been a phenomenal athletic director at Northwestern. He has not been phenomenal at the ACC. He said something yesterday saying, it remains my belief that there's no better conference in the country than the ACC. Now, Commissioner Phillips, please, I realize you have a PhD, but I would like to see you defend that dissertation in front of your committee back in the day, because you would get flunked. You would not have a doctor in front of your name trying that act on national television.
So what ultimately happens, Paul? Dave McKinnon, my producer, I'm asking one more question here, even though he's wrapping me. What ultimately happens, Paul? You talk about these mega conferences. I mean, does one of them just swallow up the ACC as we know it? Is that what you expect to happen here?
I mean, they could make a deal with the Pac-12 primarily for television games, and they would be attractive if you get Oregon and Washington versus Miami and Clemson. But they really have very little choice. If they do what you just said about a revenue share, they'll go the way. It will not work. Texas had its own deal many years ago in the Big 12 with the Longhorn Network, and that's one reason why Missouri, Nebraska, and ultimately Texas A&M said, "We'll see you later. We're not dealing with that." It would be a mistake because it just doesn't work. Even though Clemson is deserving of it, this is supposed to be about sharing and equality. That won't work.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.